So you're going to drop your chin to your chest. And look up to the ceiling. And come back to center. And look to one side. And then to the other side. And then come back to center. Drop one ear to one shoulder. And then the other ear to the other shoulder. And then come back up. Now you're going to do some small circles. So start by dropping your chin to your chest. And just move your head around, moving within your pain-free range of motion. So if you're moving and you feel any kind of pinching in your neck, say if your head is to the side and you feel some pinching in here, then bring your head up just a little bit and make the movements a little bit smaller. You can do that a couple times in each direction. Letting your shoulders relax. Breathing throughout the entire exercise. Really, you want to be breathing throughout the entire time. If you notice that you're holding your breath, then it may be a sign that you're working a little bit too hard to get into or do a movement. So just lighten up a little bit and come back to your breath. You're just going to lift your shoulders up and let them drop down. And do that again. Lift up and drop down. And just do some small circles with your shoulders. Now, as you do this, try to keep your head stacked on your spine. So instead of letting your head move with your shoulders, try to keep your head still. You can change directions. And also try to keep your chest still. So as you're doing it, try not to make the movements really big and move your chest. We're just moving the shoulder blades on the rib cage. Just small movements. Okay, now let your shoulders come up and then drop down and just be relaxed. You're going to turn your arms in and out, keeping your shoulders away from your ears. You can see here my elbow creases are turning in toward my body and then out. And as you do it, try not to let your elbows hyperextend. Keep a slight bend in your elbows. And you really want the movement to be initiated in your glenohumeral joint, which is one of your shoulder joints here and here. Okay, now you're going to take your hand onto your chest. If you can get your hand on the skin of your chest, that might be a little bit easier, but if you have, if it's over closed, that's fine too. What you want to do is you want to pin the skin down on your chest, keep your teeth gently touching, and you're going to lift your chin up. So you want to feel a stretch through the front of your neck. Have your lips gently touching. And if you don't feel a stretch, you can tilt your head or turn your head. Still pinning the skin down here. And find the angle that you feel the most stretch. And change positions. Remembering to breathe. You can even pin different parts of your skin on your chest down and just kind of play with it. There's a lot of different angles that you can find a stretch here. You can even move your jaw. So if you jet the lower part of your jaw forward, that may intensify the stretch as well. And then come back. Just do a couple more circles with your shoulders. Now interlace your fingers. We're just going to do a quick finger stretch. So you're going to have your fingers interlaced, thumbs spreading away from each other. You're going to push your palms forward. Again, trying not to hyperextend your elbows. Keep them slightly bent. What you want to do is push your palms forward. So you can see I'm also getting a stretch between my shoulder blades. So you're going to feel a stretch in your hands, your fingers, thumbs, maybe even between your shoulder blades. And then see if you can take a couple breaths, moving through the backs of your ribs. You're going to change the interlace of your fingers. So if one index finger was on the top, the other one's going to go on top now. Turn your palms forward. So you really want to be having the tips of your fingers touching your opposite knuckles and thumbs stretch away. And then again, reach your arms forward, keeping a slight bend in your elbows and stretching between your shoulder blades. Taking some deep breaths into your back ribs here. All right, let your arms, shake your arms out a little bit. Do some internal and external rotation. At your shoulders. You notice you're having any tension in your jaw, your mouth, your neck, try to release that. And now we're going to come to the wall. I'll do it to this side just so that you can see the alignment. So when you're at the wall, you want to have your sacrum, which is the triangle bone at the base of your spine, touching the wall. And then you want a little bit of space for your low back. And then you want just below your shoulder blades to be touching the wall. And then your arms resting down. So here you can see that my shoulders aren't even necessarily touching the wall at this point. Your feet will be a little bit away from the wall so that you can lean against the wall. Now here, what you're going to do is you're going to bring your chin down and back, trying to bring the back of your head toward the wall. So it may touch or it may not. That's not necessarily the point, but the point is more to get some length through the back of your neck at the base of your skull. You're just going to do that a couple of times. Relax your head forward. And bring your chin down and back. You can also imagine someone's pulling the crown of your head up to the ceiling as you do this. And by having these contact points on the wall, it kind of gives you a sense of stability from the shoulders down. So if you notice, as you bring your head back, the ribs want to come off the wall. Bring the ribs back to the wall and just move your head as far as it can go, that everything else stays still. You also may notice that your low back starts pressing against the wall. If that's the case, just come back to having some space there and so go back to this movement. You're going to turn your head to about 45 degrees to one side. And you're going to do the same thing. And then turn to the other side. Again, remembering to breathe, maintain the contact points on the wall, your shoulders relax. Come back to center. And now we're going to move the rib cage. I'll show you against the wall here. So you have the same contact points against the wall. And you're going to take your ribs, and you can have your hands on your ribs or you can have your hands down, and you're just going to slide them side to side. And as you do it, see if you can keep your shoulders as level as possible, as opposed to tilting them. It's a different movement. This movement's called lateral translation. So you're sliding side to side. Now come back to center. And now we're going to tilt side to side. And here your shoulders can tilt. You still want to maintain the same contact point. So the space that's moving on the wall is just below your shoulder blades. Your low back is not touching the wall. Let your head hang. If you want to add a little bit more of a stretch, you can take your arm over your head. But same thing, as you're doing the movement, you want to keep the lower ribs just below your shoulder blade against the wall. So if you go to bend over and this happens, come back to the wall and just make the movements a little bit smaller. What this does is it allows you to isolate the movement in your spine and get a true lateral bending. You're bending side to side in this exercise. And remembering to breathe. And if bringing your arms over your head is too much, then you can keep your arms down. That's perfectly fine. So now you're going to come to the doorway, and you're going to have both hands on the door frame. If you have a post or something else that you can hang on a railing, or even the door handles, you can hang there too. Lots of options. So here, you're going to start with your wrists about as high as your shoulders. You're going to lean back. Now, the closer, you can't really see my feet in this video, but the closer your feet are to the wall, the more challenging it'll be. The more weight your arms will have to carry. You're just going to hang here, letting your shoulder blades come away from your spine. Your spine can round a bit. You can even drop your head down. If your feet are really close to the wall and your arms are hanging, come out a little bit so that we're going to use just one hand. So now you're just going to keep one hand on, and you're going to turn your whole torso as far as you can, not worrying about where your shoulder is or your shoulder blade is, and just open your chest up. And then come back to both hands, and then open your chest to the other side. Do that a couple of times. As you do it, try not to let your shoulder creep up. So if your shoulder comes up, let it drop down. Okay, so now as you do it, as you open your arm out, you want to try before it's okay to let your shoulder blade come into your spine. Now what you want to do is try to keep the shoulder blade away from your spine as you open out. So in order to do that, you want to keep this arm reaching this way. See, as I reach, the shoulder blade comes away from the spine. And then keep that reaching. And then open up. So the movement will be a lot smaller, but you're getting more of an opening in this shoulder joint, in your glenohumeral joint, by keeping the scapula still. So it's this versus this. So try that a few times on each side. And stay on one side for a couple breaths. And again, the closer your feet are to the wall, the more weight you're going to have in your arms. So just play with the distance that you feel comfortable with. You can tilt your head to the away from your arm that's hanging. A couple breaths here. And then come back up. Change sides. And with that, I'll do a quick finger stretch. Give your fingers a break. Interlacing your fingers, stretch your thumbs away from each other. And then change the interlace of your fingers. If one index finger was on the top, change to bring the other one on the top. Spread your thumbs away from each other. Relax your shoulders down. So if your arms are up here and your shoulders can't come down, bring your arms down. That'll bring your shoulders down. Now you're going to turn the backs of your hands together. You can interlace your fingers just a little bit and try to get your thumbs to touch, or at least to move toward each other. Same thing here with the shoulders. Relax your shoulders down and keep the backs of your hands together as you bring your wrists down. Bring your hands side to side if you want. And just feel that. Or if it's intense enough, just hang out here. Now we're going to come back to the door frame. And this time we're going to cross our arms. So the left hand goes on the right side of the door frame and the right hand goes on the left side of the door frame. You're going to hang here. So this just changes the rotation and the angle that your shoulders are at as you're hanging. It just stretches at a different angle. You hang back as far as you feel comfortable. Or you can just stay up here. That's perfectly fine too. All right, now you're going to let go of your left hand. And this time you're going to stretch across your body. So keep your right hand against or on the door frame. You're going to turn your torso to the right as far as you can. So you may feel a stretch through here, between your shoulder blade and your spine. Again, if you feel any pinching in here, then don't twist as much. So come out. You can also bring your arm down a little bit. That may help. Now we're going to switch sides. So left hand holds onto the right side of the door frame, and you're going to twist to the left. The more you hang your torso, the more of a stretch you'll get, and the more your hands will be holding you up. And in this case, here you're getting a bit of a twist. So if you turn your chest is turning to the right. If you turn your pelvis to the left, that'll intensify the twist as well. All right, shake your hands out. Do a quick finger stretch. Oh, and change the interlace of your fingers. All right, we're going to come back to the wall. You want to find the same contact points as before. So the sacrum, the triangle bone at the base of your spine, and the rib cage just below your shoulder blades. You want to keep those points at the wall, and you can try bringing your chin down and back. Your head doesn't necessarily have to touch the wall. If your head, the back of your head touches the wall, but your chin is lifted like this, then you're better off having your head away from the wall and bringing your forehead and your chin vertical relative to each other. I'm going to close this door to use it as a wall. So you're standing against the wall like that. And now we're going to do some circles with your arms. So you're going to bring your arms up and out to the side and down. So here you want the circles to be as big as they can be, that you don't feel pain, that your shoulders are staying away from your ears, and that your rib cage isn't coming up, off the wall. So here, as you do this, if I get to this point, and in order to get my arms up higher, I have to do this, then you're better off keeping your arms here and making the circles go like this. Because then you're actually working within your shoulder joint and you're not hinging at your spine. And as you start to move your shoulders a little bit more, then you'll start to gain more range of motion. You can change directions. So just make the movements relaxed. You want to be breathing. Relax your neck and your shoulders, your jaw. A couple times in each direction. Notice as you're doing this, if you're holding your stomach really tight, see if you can relax your belly. Relax your neck and your shoulders. And if you're starting to notice that this space is getting smaller and smaller, relax to allow your lumbar spine or your low back to come away from the wall again. So let your arms relax and just let your head hang down. Again, keeping the same contact points. Yeah. Bring one ear to your shoulder and go side to side a little bit. Come back up. We'll do a couple more circles. Change directions. If this feels easy, you can try and get the farther back your hands are to the wall, try to get your thumbs to touch the wall. So as you slide your arms up, if you have pretty good range of motion in your shoulders, you can always add more challenge to it. So what you can do is you can turn your arms so that your elbow creases are pointing up to the ceiling and thumbs slide against the wall the whole way up. But again, you want to make sure that you maintain the same contact points on the wall. And then come forward. You can even add weights into your hands while you're doing this, even if it's just something small. All right, we're going to come to the wall one more time, or to the door frame. And you're going to have your hands about as wide as high, your wrists as high as your shoulders. You can do this in any angle. So you can practice this on your own time at any angle. We're going to just do this right now. So here, figure out how close to the wall you want your feet to be, how much your hands can sustain you, hold you up. And now keeping your shoulders down, you're going to bring pull your shoulder blades toward your spine, bringing your chest toward your hands, and then come away. As you do this, try to keep your shoulders and neck relaxed. If your head is coming forward to try to get this motion to happen, that's not what we want. You can just make the motion small, even just this much. And we're going to do some circles. If you notice that as you're doing this, your chest is coming to the wall too, you want to keep that back. You're just moving the muscles between your shoulder blades. You change directions. Let me come out of there. We'll just do a quick stretch across your body. And then change hands. So your one hand is on the opposite side of the door frame. You can turn your chest away from your hand. And then coming out of that, you're just going to open your chest up. So here, depending on how you want to stretch, you can either let your shoulder blade come in here, or you can intensify it a little bit and keep your shoulder blade away from your spine. Keep the elbow crease up to the ceiling, and then open your chest. So it's kind of like that way. It's kind of like as you turn the chest away from the hand, you also want to be pushing your shoulder forward. That keeps the shoulder blade away from your spine, as opposed to letting it come back. Push it forward, keep it down. All right, let your arms relax. Do some internal and external rotation. Now we're just going to go back to our initial range of motion assessment and see how your neck is feeling. So drop your chin to your chest. Notice if the stretch has changed location or you're not feeling as much of a stretch. You can go further. Turn to one side as you turn. Try to keep your chest facing forward and see how far you can look over your shoulder. Other side. Come back to center. Wrap one ear to one shoulder. See how far you can go. Try not to bring the shoulder up to the ear. Let the shoulders relax, jaw relax. And then go to the other side. And come back up. Do a couple circles. So that's all for today's class. Any of these stretches can be done throughout the day. So if you're sitting a lot or you're doing something, you start to feel some stiffness in your neck or your mid back, you can just pick one stretch and do that for a couple seconds. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Okay, if there isn't any questions, I'm just going to end the class. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back next Wednesday at 9:30.